I never imagined that one ordinary afternoon, standing in the lobby of that upscale apartment building where my husband worked late so many nights, my entire world would crack open with just a few whispered words from a stranger. My name is Sophia, and for 12 years I believed I had the kind of marriage other women envied. Mark and I met in college, built a beautiful home together, raised our 2 little girls who adored their daddy, and on the outside everything looked perfect: Sunday brunches, family vacations, the kind of love that made people stop and smile. But that day, everything changed in the most heartbreaking way. I had driven over to surprise him with his favorite coffee and the girls' latest school drawings. The building's marble floors echoed under my heels as I waited near the front desk. That's when I noticed him, an older security guard, maybe in his late 60s. Silver hair neatly combed, uniform pressed, but eyes carrying the weight of someone who had seen too much. He kept glancing at me, then away, like he was wrestling with something heavy. I smiled politely, the way you do with strangers, but he didn't smile back. Instead, he stepped closer, voice low and urgent, almost trembling. "Ma'am, is that your husband upstairs? The one who works in finance on the 10th floor?" I nodded, still holding the warm coffee cup. "Yes, that's Mark. Do you need me to pass along a message?" He hesitated, then leaned in so close I could smell the faint coffee on his breath. His words came out in a whisper that sent ice through my veins. "Your husband. He's hiding a big secret. You need to see this." My heart didn't just skip, it stopped. The lobby lights suddenly felt too bright. The chatter of people around me faded into a distant hum. I stared at him, searching his weathered face for any sign that this was a joke, a mistake, anything. But his eyes were dead serious, filled with a kind of pity that made my stomach twist. He didn't say another word right then. Instead, he glanced around like he was afraid someone might overhear, then slipped a small USB drive into my trembling hand. "Watch it tonight when you're alone," he murmured. "I'm sorry, Ma. You seem like a good woman. You deserve to know." He walked away before I could even ask his name, leaving me standing there frozen, the coffee now burning my fingers. I slipped the drive into my purse like it was poison and drove home on autopilot. The girls were at their grandmother's for the evening, thank God, so the house was quiet when I finally plugged that little black stick into my laptop. What I saw shattered me in ways I still can't fully describe. Video after video. Photos, messages, my husband, my Mark, the man who kissed me goodbye every morning and told our daughters he loved them more than the stars, was living a completely different life. There she was, a younger woman, beautiful in that polished, corporate way, laughing in his arms, in hotel rooms I had never seen, texts that made my skin crawl. "Can't wait to see you tonight, baby. Tell your wife you're working late again." Bank transfers to accounts I didn't recognize, even a separate apartment lease in the next city over. I sat there for hours, tears streaming down my face, replaying every single frame until my eyes burned. Every "I love you" he had whispered to me over the years now felt like a knife. How long had this been going on? 2 years, 3? The security guard must have caught the affair on the building's cameras. Mark had been bringing her there when he thought no one was watching. The guard had risked his job to give me the truth because, as I later learned, he had lost his own wife to the same kind of lies years ago. That night I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, replaying our entire marriage like a broken film reel. The vacations where he was on his phone for work. The nights he came home smelling faintly of someone else's perfume that I had convinced myself was just the dry cleaner. The way he always smiled now I saw it was practiced, fake. My chest felt hollow, like someone had scooped out everything that made me feel safe and whole. I cried until there were no tears left. Then I got angry. Not the screaming kind of angry, the quiet, burning kind that starts deep in your bones and refuses to let you stay broken. But what I didn't know that day was that this was only the beginning of the nightmare, and the beginning of the woman I was about to become. The next morning I woke up feeling like a ghost in my own life. The girls ran into the kitchen giggling, asking for pancakes like any normal Saturday, and I forced a smile so wide my face hurt. Mark came downstairs whistling, kissed the top of my head the way he always did, and said, "Morning, beautiful. Long day at the office again, big project." I looked at him, and for the first time saw a stranger wearing my husband's face. I didn't confront him right away. I needed proof that couldn't be explained away, and I needed time to breathe. So I smiled back, poured his coffee, and watched him leave. The moment the door closed, I collapsed on the floor and sobbed so hard my body shook. How do you mourn someone who is still alive? How do you grieve a marriage that was never real? Over the next 2 weeks I became a detective in my own nightmare. I went through every credit card statement, every deleted text I could recover, every late night at work excuse. The security guard, his name was Mr. Harlan, met me secretly in a park near the building. He told me everything he had seen on the cameras over the past year. The secret meetings in the underground parking garage. The woman's car parked in Mark's reserved spot. The way they kissed like teenagers when they thought the cameras were off. He even showed me still photos he had printed because he couldn't bear to let another woman live in the dark, the way his wife had. Each new piece of evidence felt like another crack in my heart. I discovered they had a joint account together. He had bought her jewelry with money we were supposed to be saving for the girls' college. He had even taken her to the same beach resort where he had proposed to me 10 years earlier. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was every layer of our life together being secretly rewritten with someone else. I felt so stupid, so small, so utterly replaceable. There were nights I stood in the shower until the water ran cold, whispering to myself, how did I miss this? The anger came in waves, but so did the love I still stupidly felt for the man I thought he was. I would catch myself remembering the way he held our newborn daughters, the way he danced with me in the kitchen at midnight, and then the images from that USB drive would slam back in and destroy me all over again. I started pulling away without him noticing at first. I stopped asking about his long days. I stopped reaching for him at night. He actually commented once, "You seem distant lately, Soph. Everything okay?" I just smiled and said I was tired. Inside I was screaming. The lowest point came when I finally followed him one evening. I sat in my car across the street from that second apartment and watched him walk inside with her. They laughed together under the streetlight like they had their own private world. I cried so hard I couldn't drive home for an hour. That was the night something inside me shifted. The pain didn't disappear, but it transformed into a cold, clear determination. I was done being the fool. I was done protecting his lies. The woman who had built her entire identity around being a good wife and mother was waking up, and she was furious in the quietest, most dangerous way. I began planning in secret. I spoke to a lawyer. I copied every file, every photo, every transfer. I recorded conversations when he thought I was asleep. Mr. Harlan even helped me get more footage discreetly because, as he said with tears in his eyes, no one deserves to live a lie this long. Every day I felt myself breaking and rebuilding at the same time. The betrayal had destroyed the old Sophia, but in her place was someone stronger, someone who refused to let this define her. I looked at my beautiful girls and promised myself they would never grow up thinking it was normal for a man to treat a woman this way. That promise became my armor, but the worst was yet to come, because when I finally confronted him, the truth that spilled out was even darker than the videos. The night I chose to end it was the same night he had told me he would be working late again. I waited until the girls were asleep. Then I set the dining table like it was any other evening. His favorite wine, the USB drive placed right in the center like a loaded gun. When he walked through the door at 11 p.m., still smelling of her perfume, he saw my face and froze. "Sophia, what's going on?" I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I simply pressed play on the laptop and let every video, every photo, every message fill the room. He went pale. He tried to speak, to explain, to gaslight. "It's not what it looks like, baby. She means nothing," but I just raised my hand and said the words I had practiced 1,000 times in the mirror. "I know everything, Mark, and I'm done." What followed was the most painful and liberating conversation of my life. He confessed it all. The affair had started as harmless fun and turned into a second life he couldn't quit. He had lied for years because he was addicted to the thrill, to feeling young again. He even cried real tears, but they meant nothing to me anymore. The man I loved had died the moment that security guard whispered those words. The revenge wasn't loud or violent. It was precise and complete. The next morning I filed for divorce and presented the mountain of evidence to my lawyer. Within weeks, everything he had built on lies began to crumble. His company received an anonymous package of the footage showing him using their resources for personal affairs: company car, company credit card, company time. He was quietly let go. His family saw the proof and turned their backs. The woman he thought would stand by him, she disappeared the moment the money and the lifestyle dried up. I kept the house. I kept primary custody of our girls, and with the help of that brave security guard who had become an unlikely friend, I made sure every loose thread was tied. Mark lost the apartment, the secret accounts, and most importantly, the illusion that he could have two lives without consequences. The day the divorce was final, I stood on the same lobby where Mr. Harlan had first whispered the truth. He was there, smiling proudly. "You did it, ma'am. You got your life back." I hugged him and thanked him for saving me when I didn't even know I needed saving. Today, I'm not the broken woman who once stood in that lobby. I'm Sophia, stronger, wiser, and finally free. My girls are thriving. I've started my own small business, something I had always dreamed of but never had the courage to chase while I was busy being the perfect wife. And every night when I tuck my daughters in, I tell them the same thing: never ignore the quiet voice inside you that says something isn't right, and never be afraid to choose yourself. The betrayal destroyed the life I thought I had, but it gave me the life I was always meant to live. If you're watching this and you're in the middle of your own nightmare, please hear me. The pain is real. The tears are necessary, but so is your comeback. You are stronger than the lies they told you. You are worth more than the secrets they kept, and one day, maybe with the help of an unexpected guardian angel like my Mr. Harlan, you will whisper back to the universe, "I survived, and I thrived. Thank you for letting me share my story." If it helped even one person feel less alone, then every shattered piece was worth it. Asterisk.